Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Like we covered like release strategy. Then the practice. Let me know if you have any doubts. And just two, we will understand the pricing procedure, how it can be done, mind the different types of the pricing procedures and the background of it. Pricing procedures generally two types. One is domestic pricing. Second one is import pricing. What is meant by domestic pricing and what is meant by import pricing? First, you want to procure some material. The material can be available for you in the both places like you where your organization is set up. In that place you will get the material. The same material can be import like you can procure from the another country. Same material, same material. For example, like Samsung itself. Samsung you can procure from India. I mean the manufactured by the India. The same time, some you can procure from another country as well. What is the difference when you are procuring from the domestic and when you are procuring from the import? The difference there is. Even the price is most different and somewhat maybe the quality. People tell if you import some of the material you will get the quality of the material, but I'm not sure. But the most variance here is price. If you procure some material in India, it's cost around like 1 lakh. The same material if you procure from abroad, value will be increased to 1.3, 1.4. Around 30 to 40,000 difference you will get. Why you will get the difference? It is imported the transport charges. Correct? There you need to pay the import duties. And you need to pay the custom duties and you need to pay the transportation charges. And if any import taxes will be there and you need to pay them. That is impacting your value of the product. But when you see and the domestic, you won't get that variances. Why we won't get means the same product which is manufacturing in our own country. And it is like easy to transportable and you won't get the custom duties you need to pay. How you are when you are procuring this material, you are procuring from the import and you are procuring from the domestic, how your system is knowing. When you talk about the SAP, how the SAP is knowing. Answer any answer. How we know is generally from the vendor. If one vendor is based on the vendor-based country, If the vendor is US vendor and the general is currency, pay terms will be there in the USDS. Based on vendor considering domestic imported. Correct. And if the vendor belongs to India, then you can easily find that this guy belongs to India. Based on the data system will make a which pricing it will be impact, like whether it is being impacting for the domestic or imports. What are the steps when you are defining that in domestic and import? The process is same. What are the things we are going to define? First, we are going to define access sequence. What is meant by access sequence? Access sequence is a search strategy such as for the value conditions like we see in the system. You won't get understand directly if I say some definitions. Next is a defined pricing condition. These pricing conditions, we call it as a pricing elements. Pricing elements. What is meant by pricing elements over here? Pricing element is like if you call freight valet 1, this is one pricing element. Some toll charges is there. This is one of the pricing element. Some other charges will be there. That is one of the pricing element. That we can see in the pricing elements. Next one is define calculation schema. It is a part like where you are making the structure. There is a different structure. Mapping is there. This is the most important place where like how the calculation will be happen. Next is define a schema group. In the schema group, you can see schema group per vendor, here we are defining schema group for vendor. For example, it is a DO means domestic. These are two characteristic code. And if you want to define schema group for purchase organizations DO something, you can define anything as a schema group for purchase organizations DO. Anything, any four characteristic name you can define. Do something. You can define the four characteristics of schema group. Here we need to link the standard purchase organizations. This is linked to our schema group for purchase organization. We need to link. Then once we done the linking, then we need to do the schema determination. Schema determination. In the schema determination, we need to link the pricing procedure, for example, MU to M to 0, link to schema group for vendor. DGO, and this is linked to Schema group for purchase organizations. For these things, we need to maintain and define scheme correlation schemas. Once we done this process, what we need to do is we need to maintain schema group. And in vendor master, vendor to do. What are the things you will do when creating the purchase order? We will give the vendor. We will give the vendor and purchase organization and the property code. We will give. Now for your vendor schema group for vendor. What you assign the? What you did here, you assign a schema group for vendor to vendor master. And when you are creating the PO, what will happen? You are giving the enter in the vendor. Vendor contains what schema group for vendor. And when entering the purchase organization, here it will become a check. The schema group for vendor and schema group for purchase organization, when you enter the purchase organization system, will compare the schema group for vendor, schema group for purchase organization. What is the schema? Calculation schema is maintained. This is ANN 000 we maintain. Then system automatically pick up a particular calculation schema. Depends on that, other calculation will be happens. Clear at least here. Now we will see how calculation schema will work. If you come here, this is how the structure will be there. Here you can see the step. Count. Step is 1. And step is 1. In the step you have the sequence of counters like a counter number 1, counter number 2, counter number 3. In the sub-step, you can maintain n number of counters. And the next is a condition type. Condition type is PBs only, PBX. There is a different condition types is there. And the next is from mine too. If you have any further conditions, these conditions on which it should be, for example, if you are maintaining the freight should be at on which price and friend should be at on gross price. Here from, we will maintain as a step number like 1. Just I'll show. Now you can see. Now I added a here. What is the step of the gross price one? What I'll do, I'll maintain as a 1. I end up, this is a manual things. Whether you want a manual entry or automatically, this should be done. If you want to select as a manual indicator, then what will happen? You need to go and maintain as a manual. Which means if you select this one and you yourself, when you are creating the purchase order, you need to go and select. This condition should be manual entry. If you want system to be automatically entered, like without having any value, then you need to remove the sticker. The next is a required entry. Required entries like if you select this required entry, and when you are creating the purchase order, if you're not entered this particular condition, what will happen? The system will throw you error message. What is error message? It will be throw. Guys, you told it is a required entry, but you're not entered due to that system will give the required condition is not entered. Then you need to know and you need to enter the condition. Next is a statistical. Statistical is like you want the calculation, but you don't want to show in the printout level. At that time, the special calculations, you will maintain the statistical. Next is relevant for accounting determination. Then you need to select the, if you want enter relevant to accounting determination means you want any GLS to be hit, then you need to maintain the relevant to accounting determination. Next, if you want to print this condition, type in the purchase order, then you need to make it as a X. It is printable. If you maintain blank, it is not printable. And subtotal requirement, alternative calculation, alternative condition base value. These are 4 other we are using for the different calculations. For example, if you see the requirement, it is a 6. What does mean by 6? It is a conclusion indicator. Now you can see here there is a 2 gross prices. One is PV, another one is a PBX. If P400 is come, then PBX won't come. PBX will come. P100 won't come. That is exclusive, like if one will come, another won't come. In that case, we will use, if you go and see in the drop down, there is a different exclusive in here, indicators and all those things will be there here. And if you see the subtotal, there is some calculation will be there. This should be copied from the which of the price. Generally, it should be P gross price. From there, we are picking this one. If you do alternative calculation, alternative base calculation, all those things will be having the different types of the calculations. You can see it here. Next is account key and the accruals. If you want to separate a GLL account, now Friday is there. Now I want to find should we go to the another account. For example, XGL account. I want to move. But when organizations will come and they check this materials, for example, I want to know what is my total freight like, whether it is a domestic or import, or what kind of price it may be. But I want to know what are the different prices. But at the same time, business also will ask what is my road transport price. What is my air transport? I want the different transportation values. That also you can see. If you want separate, then you need to maintain as a separate GL accounts called as accruals. If all things in a single thing, then you need to assign a one account automatically, which will be calculated in the difference. These things we will do with the help of the 5 constants. This is about the how the pricing procedure calculation will be happen. If you say that here automatically what happened, you need to maintain the That is about how the pricing things will be calculated over here. Similarly, you have the domestic import process. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. No, here it is not there. There is an import standard input process will be there. There you can see the custom duties like domestic. I mean the custom duties JCDB, JSDB. Some custom duties is it. Some other charges will be there. Is this default or? No default. Default or standard. Some people are deleted. Then by copying that we will create a respective of like organization how they want the pricing and all those things. This one Jimpi one. Some people will be changing their name. You can see the basic custom duties, especially custom duties in CVD. These are the separate custom duties we are using. Just a 4 to 5 custom duties is there. If they want, we will add extra. Otherwise, you keep it as it is. This is about how the control data can be worked over here. Same thing. MM. You can create MM and you can create the two things. This is like how the different calculations can be happens in the system. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.